Let's bring in our guest now. Joining me now from Harare is Michael Kandukutu. He's a director at the Zimbabwe Congress of Trade Unions. Michael, thanks for joining us on the Newsmakers. Tell me why you think this transaction tax is a bad idea.
Okay, thank you very much for having me on the show. Firstly, I want to bring out to you that we have observed as the ZCTU that the transaction tax is meant to deal with an odious debt, a debt that we have not created, a debt that we are for sure are aware that has not been used for the advancement of the lives of the poor and the general population. Secondly, we are saying that the transaction tax is a bad idea because in terms of its propagation, in terms of its formulation, there was no consultation between the lawmakers and the citizens. So it comes to us as workers, to us as citizens, as a shock.
And when the government says that that 2% tax will be used for roads, for health, for education, why don't you believe them? Isn't that a good thing?
Well, thank you very much for that question. What I want to highlight is that this government has got a history. It is the government that we've had for the past 37 years. It is the same government that adopted a dual economy from Britain, where we had two economies, one for the white and one for the blacks. But when you looked at the two economies, we had a healthy facility system that was functional. We had roads that were very passable as compared to now. We have other schemes that are creating funds for the Zimbabwean government. For instance, we have got taxes that motorists are paying on the road to Zinara, and those taxes have not been used to rehabilitate our roads. Our roads are full of potholes and mostly impassable. You look at the health delivery system, citizens are having to pay in order for them to access health delivery services. And that is not translated into good services. That what would actually equate to the monies that we are paying. So there is a lot of mistrust between the government, the workers, and the general populace.
Michael, the last time we saw these massive queues, the gas shortages, the supermarket shortages, it was 2008. There was economic collapse in Zimbabwe. There was hyperinflation. Are we seeing something similar going to happen now?
Yes, I think from the announcements which were made by the Reserve Bank Governor, Mangudya, and the Minister of Finance on the 2nd of October, where they both announced fiscal and monetary policies. From the announcement that the two made, it then struck out all the confidence that the citizens, the business, and the workers had. From the day of the announcement, we began to see queues forming in fuel stations, and we also began to see goods disappearing from shop shelves. We also began to see citizens preparing themselves for hard times to come. And how do citizens prepare themselves for hard times to come? They prepare themselves by hoarding, by buying in bulk what is available of the basics. So this is what we then witnessed.
Michael, are you being a bit too harsh on the government? I mean, if somebody had been in a coma for the past year and they woke up and they started watching this segment, they'd think that we're talking about Robert Mugabe's Zimbabwe. Mugabe's gone. Mnangagwa is your leader, and they're saying, give us a chance. We know we inherited a mess from Mugabe and the cult of Mugabe and the people around him. Give us a chance to fix things. Are you maybe being a bit too harsh on Mnangagwa?
Well, honestly, I would want to say that The Mnangagwa that we had soon after Operation Restore Legacy and the one that we have today is totally different. The one that we had on the inauguration is a totally different one, because on inauguration, he was indeed saying that the voice of the people is the voice of God. He was saying that he was going to be the voice of the people. He was saying that he was going to be a servant of the people. He was saying that he was going to be a democratic leader. And a democratic leader practices democracy, which means participation, which means consultation. And this has not happened. What we start to see are the old traits of the First Republic. They are referring to the 37 years Zimbabwe that we had as the First Republic. And now that we are in a Second Republic, which is in transition, we would want to see new traits that are starting to take place, traits of consultation. We are coming from a background that we are an organization, a ZCTU, that fights for social justice. And social justice has two factors, economic and political. And we see the new government lacking in both the political and economic factors. So we are not being unfair in our judgment.
Can you protest at the moment? If ZCTU wanted to take to the streets tomorrow, would you be allowed to?
Unfortunately not. What has since happened is that it also appears that the Zimbabwe Republic Police is acting as if it's an appendage of the ruling party ZANU-PF, because just on the 11th of October, we had intended to strike to voice our concern on the text, to say that the text was ill-timed. The text was actually promoting traits and characters of ASAP2. The police reacted by banning all the demonstrations, which is our democratic right in terms of the Constitution of Zimbabwe, Section 59. But the police went on to arbitrarily ban all our demonstrations. They went on to arrest about 36 people who participated or who were about to participate in the demonstrations. So it appears to us that the environment is not yet democratized enough for us as citizens, for us as Zimbabweans to enjoy our constitutional rights as given by the Constitution. The police continue to violate our rights. In fact, the situation that we are now facing would actually similarize a political and army state.
They say that it's because of cholera, that they don't want the spread of cholera. That's why they're banning protests for the moment. It's not because they're trying to take away your democratic rights.
It is unfortunate that they refer to cholera. There has been a number of gatherings where the president himself has officiated. There have been graduation ceremonies that have been done at about 3 universities in this very time where they are talking about cholera. Football matches, which actually congregate or which gather a lot of people are taking place. They have not banned football matches. They have not banned people going to their religious churches to gather, where they gather in thousands. All these people are gathering. They have not banned people from participating in ZANU-PF meetings or rallies. The ban only applies to organizations like ours, which is fighting for the democratic rights of workers and citizens. So it is unfortunate that there is a selective application of where cholera will apply and a selective application of where cholera will not apply.
Maybe cholera only spreads amongst government critics, and maybe this is a medical breakthrough. Very finally, all jokes aside, looking at the situation of Zimbabwe right now, IMF, World Bank, all in discussions with Zimbabwe in order to reduce the debt. The economy is wobbling, and this is a major test for Mnangagwa. What do you want to happen from the outside? Because if I remember correctly, whenever people from the outside tried to do something, whether it was the United Kingdom, the United States, even the AU in general, then President Mugabe would say, you see, they want to take away our sovereignty and take away our independence, right? So, given that there's this sort of delicate political balance you have to have where any outside investment, intrusion, politically and otherwise, is seen as some sort of intrusion over sovereignty, what do you want from the outside world? What should they do?
Thank you. I think from where I'm coming from, when we look at the IMF and we look at the World Bank, we see again that propensity to go out to the agents of neoliberalism. We are saying before any debt can be given to the country, we want an audit of the odious debt that the country is. Who took the money and where did it go? The government must account for the money. Where did it go? And then thereafter, what is now happening is that this money from the IMF and the World Bank is not coming free of charge. It is again going on the poor Zimbabwean citizen, poor Zimbabwean taxpayer, and before that money is given, before that loan is extended to Zimbabwe, we want to know what has happened to the other loans that the government has borrowed. How have they been used? There must be an audit of the odious debt. We need that support.
Okay. Michael Kandukutu, it's been good to have you on the Newsmakers. I thank you very much for joining us.